Hey, this is Travis with Oscar Mike Radio number 178. And I'm pleased, honored, and just excited to have my good buddy Jim Tuff down in Florida back, the ultimate Red Sox fan, Army veteran. Jim, welcome to the show. Now, before we get started, Jim, just real quick for everybody, Jim and I met because Jim was doing 22 push-ups a day to raise awareness about suicide and PTSD. You now kind of still do that, but you've migrated to this different thing. And I was hoping you'd tell me about that.
Well, thanks for having me back again. I enjoy talking to you. Well, it has not really changed as far as what I'm doing, but I'm trying to organize it a little bit better. You and I have talked often that I never know what my reach is. I don't know if I'm reaching anybody or if I'm just talking to myself. Friend of mine, who's a combat veteran, PTSD, all that deal. I've met him in some groups, and he's like, you are reaching a lot of people. He's like, maybe if you made your own page, that way you could track everything from there. You'd figure out what's exactly going on.
Sure.
And I had tried that a long time ago, but I had taken the name of one of the organizations, not realizing that was a bad thing. So that page ended up just dying. I didn't go back to it, and I finally deleted it. So I tried to come up with something that kind of signifies what I'm trying to get across. Having been on that edge, and you don't have to be in combat to be on the edge of that cliff to go in and go over. Having been on the edge of that cliff, I know how it is. I know how it feels. I know it sucks. And I also know where I'm at now. Life's not perfect, but I am thriving. So what I came up with to try to get it out there, that it can be done, is I named a page From the Edge to Thriving, and that's where we're at now. It's something new. It's a place where I can start the day with my video. Normally today's an exception. Rain, no snow though. And I can migrate the video from my page to my personal page, and then to the other 20, 25 to 26 veteran groups that I'm putting it in. And so I get to track the numbers, and it gives people a place to meet and see some positivity and not quitting in their life.
So let's talk about the edge, because I hear a lot of guys tell me that they feel like they're on the edge all the time when they're experiencing these problems with PTS and PTSD and life in general. And how do you get to a place when you're at that point that you can walk back from the edge? I really like what you have said before about staring into the abyss.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get there, but you end up there anyway. If it's going to happen, it doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't have to be combat, like I said before. It can be, like, for me personally, it was everything in my life that mattered to me crashing down around me, and there was nothing left of what I knew as me. And that edge is, I don't matter anymore. My ex we had broken up. I couldn't see my then 5-year-old as much as I wanted to, because I was working, trying to make sure that she was taken care of, and also I had to put a roof over my own head. I had my bases covered and it looked good, but inside I was tore up, and I was literally seeing darkness. There was nothing. There was no bright in my life. Even with my 5-year-old, I wasn't concentrating on her. I should have been. Perhaps that would have been better, but it is what it is. But that edge is where you see, you look up, you look at where you came from, and it's laid to waste. It's blown up. It's just nothing looks the same, and all that you have in front of you is a future that you can't see, and that's your abyss. You can't see it getting better. All you can do is see it getting worse, and that's where that flip comes in, because then you're just falling off and going in, and then you're done.
We've talked about this before, where people have kind of don't want to talk about what you're doing in PTSD because they feel it's not a big problem anymore. And then I see some of these news reports about the numbers for first responder and law enforcement suicide in men and for military. And I start to feel it's a very big deal. And I know it's uncomfortable to talk about, but why do you think we need to keep it in the forefront versus trying to, move it to the side, if you will?
Well, I'm going to probably say something that's a little controversial. I think that it's not necessarily keeping suicide in the forefront. What we need to do is put the fact that there's still a stigma for veterans and those on active duty and our first responders to go and seek help. Careers have ended because our guys and girls have gone to seek help, when that is probably one of the best things they can do, because as you slowly get towards the edge of that cliff, your judgment is not sound, and the only way to get it back to sound is to actually be able to talk it out and figure out how to get past it, how to accept what has happened to you, and accept that it has happened to you, and there's no going back. You are the sum of all your experiences. You can't just say, all right, snap a finger and it's fixed. Obviously not. Otherwise, we'd have no problem. But we also can't sweep the problems underneath the rug and say, all right, well, we have the problem, but as long as we don't talk about it, it's not there. Because the problem is there, and it manifests itself when people see no other way out other than to take their own life. And we've got to change that. We may not want to concentrate on the fact that it's occurring, but we need to concentrate on the fact that we can prevent it by not stigmatizing the act of getting help. I say it all the time in my videos, and I couldn't say it now if I wanted to, but if you need help, seek help. Get it from friends, family, professionals. There's absolutely no weakness and no shame in seeking help to make sure that you get what you need to get to stay here. And that's where we need to get to. We need our leadership in the military, leadership in the VA, and our own selves to say, all right, I do need help. I'm going to go get it, regardless of the personal cost at this point, because my life is more important. And that's the bottom line: is your life is more important than anything else that can happen to you. If you get out of the military, there is a life after the military. You may have to search for it, and you're definitely going to have to work for it. But the bottom line is you're here to actually do it. You're actually here to put the work in and make that good life for yourself if you end up out because of a decision you made to go get help. I'd much rather see you lose the career than kill yourself, especially if I know you. Bottom line, even if I don't know you, I don't want you killing yourself.
Right. So you created this page now, and for people who, and I'll have the links to prior podcasts I've done with Jim. Actually, this is kind of cool. This is our first time doing this face to face. I'm in New England, he's in Florida, and we're talking like we're right next to each other. It's very, very good. I really enjoy this format. But I will have links to prior podcasts on this blog post for this video that we're doing. And now that you have, migrated the page, do you see the engagement pick up? Do you see people starting to feel safe, or is it too soon to kind of really tell?
It's been up a little over a week. It's gotten to over 100 followers and 100 likes on the page. The interesting thing is watching the videos increase in the views, which means it's getting out there, which I'm happy. I'm proud to be part of. I'm the only one doing that, but I'm proud to have people watching the video and saying good things about what I'm saying to them, because I'm basically having a conversation, a fireside chat, so to speak, with everybody that decides to watch it. The reach is a lot bigger than I thought, and I'm grateful for that, because something is resonating, and I'm excited for that. Like I said before, I'm not intending to be famous, but I am intending to try to make a difference in at least one person's life, and hopefully keep them here.
So for you, if one person either, later or, gets with you on the page and says, hey, what you did made a difference in my life, that makes all, because ladies and gentlemen, Jim has done over 500 days of doing, 22 push-ups. I mean, he has walked his talk. But if one person comes back to you with that kind of feedback, you feel that you have met your goal or your purpose, excuse me.
Yes, the goal is to reach out. Reason why this became is what it has become is because my now wife was the one to reach out to me and say, it's worth staying here. I got you. So this is my way of trying to do I got you on a lot bigger scale. And I've had people say I've made a difference in how they've approached life, and that's awesome. I am thrilled, um, over the moon that I was able to actually help somebody take a step back, reevaluate what's going on, and try to make positive changes in their life. And that's what it's all about, positive change.
Awesome. Awesome. So what you're, and this absolutely blows my mind, which is why I'm just kind of struggling with it, is I still talk to so many people who sit there and tell me that there's no hope, there's no resources, there's no one to help me. And it's just not getting through. I think there's work that I need to do. I know you're doing work, but what can I do to sit there and tell somebody that, yes, there are people out there that want to help you. Yes, there's places for you to go. Yes, there are people that care about you, instead of withdrawing and not reaching out. How do you get past that? Or is that just the person has to make that choice?
Well, the best thing I've seen so far is there's a community of veterans out here that are trying to influence change. You can find them in the groups Vet Life for Life, Veterans Helping Veterans, American Military Family Got Your Six. Um, I'm going to mess up the name because I'm new to the group. It's a Military Dad Bat Cave, I think. I'd have to look it up. But there's a lot of groups all around. United War, and there's so many groups for real.
So there's tons of resources and not resources, but there are tons of peers. There's tons of veterans and brothers and sisters that, if you do reach out, they're there for you.
Yeah. In particular, Veterans Helping Veterans, and I admin in that group, and they are a clearinghouse of resources.
Oh, really?
It's about 7,000 members strong. There's an admin team of about 6 of us, and there is a large amount of resources available, and we've tried to assemble as many as we could across the country. And honestly, I've been a very, very, very small part of that. Mainly I scout. I see people that are in trouble, I bring them in. I try to anyway. Excuse me. But there's, we have everything from financial support to mental health help. If you're struggling with the VA or need immediate help, we can try to get you linked up with a person that is well connected nationwide, and get you in. And in most cases, at least 2 of the sessions are free. I mean, there's a lot of information out there. The biggest thing I can say is people got to put in the work. If they come into the group or ask me on the side or whatever, I can get you resources all day long, all day. Twice on Sunday, probably. But I cannot do the legwork for you. You have to be able to do the legwork for yourself. And that's the thing, is one of the things I see is people are stuck in neutral. They're sitting on the edge of that cliff, and they're paralyzed. Not physically, mentally. They're just all jittery and can't get they can't make a move, but they're about to explode. they're about to implode. But they choose not to make the choice to fight for themselves. They're expecting or want other people to do some of the work for them. And all we can do is give you the resources. You've got to do the work. And it's no different than what it was in the military. Any branch, it doesn't matter, even the Air Force. You still have to do the work. You are given the task conditions and standards to be able to take care of that job, take care of whatever is going on. You still have to go fulfill those tasks, the conditions, and the standards. It's no different.
One of the things, so lost my train of thought. Okay, here we go. It is about reaching the hand up and then be willing to take the hand offered and pulling yourself up. That's kind of been a common core theme of everything you've done from the moment I saw your first video to this not different kind of outreach, but the path you're going on now. But one thing, I mean, you obviously talk to a lot of people, you've helped a lot of people. One thing that I get, I see a lot is the numbers, and I don't understand this, is the numbers show that men as a whole commit more suicide than women do. And this is not a male versus female thing, but it is interesting. And the reason I want to ask you what your thoughts are on this, because I don't think there's a lot of data. There's not a lot of research on this. This is not something that people are trying to solve like cancer. So I didn't know if you had any perspective on why that is. Why do you think men experience this mental trauma more than women do, or do the sexes interpret this differently?
Honestly, from things that I've seen lately, reports that I've seen, is women veterans are more statistically likely to commit suicide than males. The difference is the sheer volume of males in the military versus female is where that number is derived from. There's far more men in the military, so therefore the pool is bigger for the chance, I guess, to commit suicide.
So you're saying take 100 men and 100 women, same demographics, everything, the numbers would be greatly increased for women.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense. And I just, I'm like you. I want to see you grow, and I want to see your outreach, increase. But at the end of the day, Jim's been very clear about this, ladies and gentlemen, where he wants this to eventually end. It would be a really accomplishment if you didn't have to do this anymore. Not that you have to do it, you do it because you want to do it, but in a perfect world, you don't want to do this anymore.
No. If I could stop tomorrow, as far as because the mission has been accomplished, I'd happily sleep in. I start my day at 4 o'clock to get the video done before I go to work. Today didn't happen because it was raining, and my DD-214 says I do not have to go get wet.
Well, you don't like that? You live in Florida, man. Come on, it's raining every day.
Yeah, I'm usually at work though.
Oh, okay, all right.
But no, it's and it was a cold rain this morning too, so I really didn't want to do it.
Come on, Jim. Your idea of cold and my idea of cold are two different things. Come on, come on.
But,
just really quickly, you mentioned your wife and how she helped you get on this path. My thing that I want to be able to do with this outreach that I'm doing is be able to help the spouse, wife or husband who's struggling watching their spouse go through this, reach out for help. So what do you tell people when you have the spouse come up to you and says, I'm at wit's end, I don't know what to do anymore? Where's the help for them?
Largely, it can be gotten in the that same way is the veteran would, because most of our veterans nowadays are married. They might be divorced, they might be on the edge of divorce, but most of them have a spouse or recently had one. For for the ones that are still married or barely holding on, the same way we have in VHV, Veterans Help Veterans, there is spouses. There's actually a spouse group attached to it.
Oh, really?
So there's the same outreach is given to the family. Specifically, we're aiming at taking care of the veteran, and unfortunately, we've had some, like Navy, in particular, Navy widow, and a couple other people that were widowed from different services, and there's not much in the way to do to help that. In that sort of situation. But as far as the family goes, there's definitely resources to help, and all they got to do is reach out. We in VHV there is there is a sort. There's the gate you have to go through to get in. You got to answer a bunch of questions saying, are you a veteran? Are you the spouse of a veteran? Blah, blah, blah. And if they're a spouse of a veteran, they're allowed in. And if they need help, they request help, and we do what we can to try to get that help to them.
So as you start this up and you see the engagement increase and you see people start to treat this as a space they can come to get help, what's next for you personally in this?
Well, just try to continue to grow and push, and trying to lead the way out of darkness. I guess is just keep letting it grow organically. I'm not going to go out there and push, because there's a couple groups that I would like to post in that do not want the video in there for whatever reason. Their choice, and that's the way it is. But organically, trying to grow, trying to gather the following, gather the flock, I guess, so to speak. I'm not a preacher. I'm not even really that religious. But I'm trying to grow the flock to try to lead the way out of darkness. And I'm in a good place. Not every day is perfect. And like I said, mine is not a combat PTSD, but life, it doesn't matter if you have PTSD or not. Not every day of your life is going to be a spectacular success. We're all going to have our ups and downs. And the bottom line is it's all about attitude. You can have a down day. You can have a down week. You can even have a down year. But as long as you keep fighting and you keep pushing and you stay positive as you possibly can, and try to get rid of the toxicity around you, whether it be in your home due to people or whatever you have in your house, chemical-wise, because a lot of stuff we ingest messes us up, to just making sure that the people that you deal with on a daily basis are the people that you need in your life. You can get to a better place.
Gotcha.
And planning. I've said this a ton. You can. Right now, I wouldn't say I have a plan for this, but I'm working on where I'm going to go next with it. And if you wing it, it's a wish. If you plan it, it's a goal. Right now, I'm winging it as far as the page goes. But I will figure out which direction this is going to go and go from there.
So I just think that, we have been talking for almost 2.5 years now.
Yep.
And it has been a real honor and pleasure. Pleasure in the sense that, oh my God, this guy is for real. I finally have a person who is doing this for real. This is not some publicity stunt. There are certainly easier ways to get attention in life than doing and talking about what you're doing. And for me, folks, it's not even the push-ups. It's the message before the push-ups that make it, really important to tune in and understand what's going on. I certainly can appreciate what you mean by PTSD and other non-military areas of your life. There's a lot of veterans who experience that through different situations that have nothing to do with combat, and it completely derails what they thought their life path would be. So what I'm trying to say is, for me, Jim, is you're veteran and military focused, but anybody can check this out and get something out of it.
Yes. What it comes down to for me is I'm trying to, how do I want to say this? Bottom line, just be the best person that you can be and try to be what you want to be. Don't let your circumstances define it. You don't have to stick in the mud. If that's where you find yourself, you don't have to stick there. You can stick your head out and start that climb. And it's just about being a good and decent person to yourself first and foremost. We've got to treat ourselves good, because when we're feeling down and that we don't matter, we kind of let ourselves go to pot, so to speak. And we have to work on how we treat ourselves and treat everybody else around us, and just try to be better human beings to ourselves and others, and just keep moving forward.
Man, that's just awesome. I really can't wait to see. And what's the name of the page? Let me see if I got this right. Is From the Edge to Thriving.
Yes.
So that's the name of Jim Tuff's new Facebook page. He's been doing this for a very, very long time on his own. And it makes sense, Jim, to put this on your own page so you can, watch, monitor, and figure out how to engage more effectively. So again, there will be a link to that page in the Oscar Mike Radio blog post. So it's must be freezing down in Florida. I mean, you Floridians must be going, just like shriveling with cold, right? Which means it's going to be time for spring training soon. What's your take on the baseball world? Jim is a big Red Sox fan, huge, as a matter of fact.
Yep. I don't know what's going to happen. The Red Sox let me down this last year.
Oh,
horrible. They just never got in gear. I definitely know they better do spring training different than they did last year, because I think I know they tried to do spring training different because they were planning to go deep into the season this year, and they went deep last season with the winning the World Series. But I guess they tried to ease pitchers into it to where like their first couple starts were supposed to be warm-ups, and that was just a disaster. If they're going to do that, they can't start on the West Coast like they did this past year, because the time change and all that, I don't know. But they went in with the plan I think they thought was going to work, and boy, did it backfire. And you got to watch out for the Yanks as usual, because they got a good team. Not as good as Houston.
So on the sports front, real quick, and we're winding down. I got to go parent here in a minute. All good. A lot of my fellow veterans are like, look, man, we're giving the NFL another chance. We see the flag being respected. We don't see people kneeling. It's time to put that behind us and just enjoy something that brings everybody together instead of making it something that separates people. Just curious. I'm really on the fence about that one. It kind of left a mark on me internally, and I quit watching for a year and a half now. And I don't really miss it. It's not something I have to do. So I could take it or leave it at this point. It's going to take something special, especially after what happened last night, for me to come back to the NFL. I'm just kind of curious what you thought.
Well, I follow the Pats and I follow the Jags. Living here in Jacksonville, if you don't follow the Jags, you miss out on a bunch.
Not much.
Actually, they were pretty good the first year I came down here. I was like, hey, thanks for the present. And then they went to crap last year. But Minshew is a real deal. But as far as football in general, they lost me for a little bit, and I'm not all the way back. I didn't like that they put the emphasis where they did. The social justice warrior stuff doesn't play well with me. It's why I'm kind of on the fence about Star Wars at this point too. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah, that's we'll have to do an off veteran podcast about that one, because that's a deep rabbit hole. But you're not saying anything that a lot of veterans up here in other parts of the country, in Louisiana, where there were Saints fans and Cowboys fans, haven't told me. It's like, Trav, yeah, I didn't watch it for a while, but it's nice having something other than like church or something like that where I can just be with my bros and watch something that I grew up enjoying. it's nice having that. And so I think, a lot of them are all the way back, but a lot of them are like where you are, where, you want to kind of see how this goes, but you're starting to warm up to it.
I wouldn't say I'm warming up to it. Just kind of more like you, just kind of whatever. I don't need it. I follow it just because it's office conversation,
Oh yeah.
and it's I still like my teams. I just don't like some of the players' actions and whatever. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow with Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a topic for a different time.
I know.
But we may have to do an OMR, a tough OMR review of the new Star Wars movie, because they have pretty much lost me at this point. I'm not even sure I want to spend the money to go see the last one after what they did with the one before that. But folks, the page is called From the Edge to Thriving. And you're going to go on this page and hear authentic content from somebody who's been there and is going to give you some real pointers on moving forward. And Jim, I just want to say you're a busy man. You got a lot going on. I want to say thanks for coming on, talking to me. And it's much better doing this kind of quasi face-to-face. It feels like a convo now. So thank you again.
This was cool.
Awesome. Well, this is 178 shutting down. Again, Jim Tough, he does 22 push-ups a day. He's done it for over 550 days, if I think I got my numbers right.
635 today.
555?
635.
635. Okay, I need to add check my iron again. I'm a Marine. Eat my crayons. But so 635 days of doing 22 push-ups. You do the math on that and tell me if that's awesome or what. And now to really kind of expand his reach and make sure he's being effective, he has his page From the Edge to Thriving. Jim, I want to talk to you again. We'll make that happen around Star Wars time. We'll do a special night where we critique the movie. How about that?
That'll work. That'll be fun.
Will you tell GQ I said hello, your lovely wife, and look forward to talking to her again. And we're on the move, man. Lock through lunch.
Roger that.